Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FSL, or the Female Esports League, for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. And if you caught yesterday's games, congratulations, you actually managed to catch one of the most exciting games I've ever casted on FSL. We saw the very close game between a couple of these teams, and just to remember you guys, my name is Aries. Hopefully you guys are enjoying today's games as well. We will be having 3 best of 3s, and we're going to kick off the day with Bren Esports Victress against Dauntless as the schedule suggests. But before that, I would like to take a little bit of time to actually go over the brackets, and come up on the screen right now. Should be able to see the brackets. And there we have it. So we're going to be seeing a couple of games which I think are really close call. We managed to stream Signet Angels with Bren Esports Victress, and between I think the closest game so far that we saw in the FSL, and in fact the entirety of the FSL, if I'll put it in a sense, was SGP Fam against Finesse Empress. And Finesse Empress, boy, they pushed it all the way to the end, and SGP Fam, they were not willing to let go of that second game. I think we broke like a 40-minute mark, which is kind of like a mini record that we have held for so long in FSL. So that was pretty good. And obviously today, we're going to be streaming 3 matches. Like I said, first game is going to be Bren Esports Victress versus Dauntless, and the winner of that game, it's going to go up against Archangel FE. And then we'll also, I believe that we have 2 other games that also will be going on. Primarily would be the Next Play Predator Tempest against Silok Angels, and then we'll also have Archangel FE versus the winner between Bren Esports Victress and Dauntless, which is the first game of the day. So that pretty much is about it for the team breakdowns. I don't think there's anything else that you guys actually missed out. And if always remember, if you want to catch the previous games, like what went down yesterday, because you're really missing out on a lot of action if you didn't watch yesterday's stream. Excuse me. You can always head on down to FSL on our Instagram or Facebook page for more info, and you always can watch our VODs on YouTube or Twitch, for a set amount of time, and then you also got Facebook. So wherever you're watching, thank you very much for tuning into the stream. Also, a big shout out to official partners. Want to give a big shout out to Dreamcore, Super Solid, as well as Yahoo TV for helping out, or rather for partnering with FSL for this particular one-off event. Remember, all the local tournaments that we're having right now is all one-offs. They're not going to be linked to the FSL circuit because we obviously are pushing back FSL circuit. We're having a little bit of that delay because of the whole COVID-19 situation, so I feel like it's always important to keep you guys updated about that. But at the end of the day, we will still have the FSL circuit, depending on how this whole pandemic I wouldn't say pandemic, but how this situation improves. And we're waiting for official news on FSL's part, so just follow us on our social media and we'll keep you guys updated to that. And obviously, following up from yesterday's game, coming into this game, we didn't really see how Dauntless has played. But I think, coming up against Bren Esports Victress, they have to be on the ball. I think Bren Esports Victress were very comfortable in both their wins. And in fact, all the games that we saw so far were 2-0. So that kind of shows how, I wouldn't say it's one-sided, right? Because the scores don't really reflect how close the games were. You can kind of only tell that, okay, this team is able to get the 2 over. So, like I said, like teams like SGP Fam, and then you got Finesse Empress, they were 2 really close teams, and the scoreboard doesn't really suggest the story that it was so close in game 2. And even for game 1, it was really close, right? We saw a little bit of a mini victory coming back with the double MM build. So I like that coming up from Finesse Empress. But for today's game is where the focus is. I think it's gonna be pretty sick. Bren Esports Victress, for those who follow esports for really long in Philippines, shout out to all Philippine viewers out there. And also remember to comment in the section below, or left, right, wherever you're depending on which platform you're watching. You guys would know about Bren Esports, right? They have a lot of teams. I believe they have a couple of teams spanning over multiple titles. So I'm really excited to see how the female team is gonna proceed into the next bracket. And coming up right now, it's Dauntless, a team that I don't really know too much. Maybe the locals, rather the viewers at home, might know more about them. I know there's Ishka, the Sky, Pau, Yuna, as well as Mid Okovukaba. Hopefully, oh my god, hopefully my Tagalog isn't that bad, but I think that's how you pronounce it. So I'm just gonna call her Mid. I think that's the best. And then over to the other side of Bren Esports Victress, you have Keanu Reeves, you have Gasai, Colin, Tris, as well as Muted. So no change in terms of lineup for Bren Esports Victress. We're kind of waiting for the game to start. And yeah. So yeah, I give them the heads up. You know, we're kind of waiting for them. Once they kind of start the game, then we'll go into draft. And you know, I think in the first part of draft, things were, or the first half of the games that we saw were not exactly scary per se, but it was kind of even. And then you know, as the game goes on, it really came down to how they kind of made the comm kind of work. So I want to see how the game's going. But I think draft has started, so let's just jump right in. Alright, so there we have it. And yeah, it looks like they wanna ban out the Grok on the side of Bren Esports Victress. So not too bad of a ban. I think Bren Esports Victress, you know, they know, obviously they know what they're doing, and I think they're gonna pick up the highlights for themselves. They also like to run with the Kufra comp. We saw yesterday, you know, giving away the Kufra, picking up the Valor, and then, you know, putting a lot of pressure on the Selena ban as well, which I don't know if Dauntless is going to ban it. I think Selena would be a really good ban here. Either the Selena or the Claude. So they do take out the Claude, which is alright. I think Claude is not too bad of a ban. I would like to see a Valor ban here coming up from Bren Esports Victress. I feel like Valor is one of the heroes right now. Too vital to give away. You know, really strong. We saw what he can kind of do if he's given the right support. You know, the burst fireball, and you know, Siri Torres is just such a strong tool to keep your opponents at bay when you're up against a lot of the melee heroes, like, you know, Savannah, who's really meta. Although she's falling quite a bit, but you know, you've got other heroes like Xbox. You've got heroes like Esmeralda. Esmeralda is one of the heroes which I was really surprised that was highly picked. I know she's finding her way back into the meta. She's really strong. There's not really a lot of heroes out there that can kind of counter her. So I guess in some sense she is very viable in this current set of draft. That being said, I really didn't expect her to get picked as often as she was yesterday. But we do see the Kaja ban, so Valor is pretty much up for grabs. There's also Atlas, but obviously drafting an Atlas into the Valor isn't the best of a decision. So you can kind of pick the Valor, and then, you know, you kind of force the opponent to pick the Krufa, you pick the Atlas for yourself, and that's a pretty okay draft. I don't think that's too bad. But they're gonna run it with the Chow. I think it's fine as well. They ran the Chow, I think 2 times yesterday, or once, and the Chow was on the opposite end. And they also picked up, I believe they did pick up a Kaja for themselves, and they gave the Kaja over in the first game, and they took the Kaja for themselves in the second game. But the only difference between them and the opponent is how they utilize the Kaja, right? They ran the Kaja to support, and I like that a lot better than putting the Kaja in the off lane, where you don't really fully utilize his ultimate, because you want to rotate as quickly as possible the moment Divine Judgment is off cooldown. And you know, that's just one of my personal thoughts regarding Bren Esports Victress game. They pick up the Esmeralda, so once again, Esmeralda getting picked up, and you're gonna see Esmeralda picked up a lot, I assume, in the Philippines competition, because apparently that's what they really love. They love this Esmeralda pick, and it is not too bad. Dauntless, they pick up the Tammuz and Uranus, 2 heroes which are really good at off lanes, fighters in fact. And you know, I love the fact that Uranus has kind of transited from this role of a tank, like a pure tank in the past, to become a really aggressive fighter in the offlane. Over the course of these 3 seasons, you know, it's always nice to see adaptation of how players can find a suitable role, or a different kind of a mainstream role for different heroes. I like this Kimi pick. I think this Kimi is gonna help them early game, you know, especially against that Bruno. They need the range, and they also need a support. They need someone that can kind of help the Kimi. I think Digi would have been good, but this ban out, Hylos is good as well. In fact, they're looking really tanky. And Bren Esports Victress, unfortunately for them, they've really banned out the carry, which is the best MM here to actually shred all 3 heroes in Dauntless. But I think it's fine. They're probably gonna look for a fighter. Sylvana's pretty good to lock down the Kimi. Might have a little bit of issue against the Tamus, so they do need a jaw hit. I think jaw hit would be fine. Dauntless already banned it out. You don't really have much choice. I think Badang's not too bad. You know, they have decent CC. I think Terisla is pretty decent, to be honest. I feel like Terisla is a hero that can kind of deal with Dauntless lineup, especially with the penalty zone and, you know, the revenge strike, execution strike. You have two really hard hitting CCs or damage skills against the Tamus. But hey, it is what it is. They decide to go with the Selena pick as well as the Qualifiers. So they got picked that up for themselves. Dauntless, they finally pick up the Valor, which I like a lot. In fact, in terms of draft, I gotta say, if Dauntless can abuse this early game that they have, shouldn't be a problem. I think they will pick the early game. The later this game goes, the better it is for Bren Esports Victress. And those are just my thoughts. I really do feel that the side of Bren Esports Victress as a whole, they do have a little bit more potential to rotate quicker per se, because you know you have the Selena, you have the Chow, two heroes that have a lot of CCs with the Abyssal Arrow as well as the Way of the Dragon. And then over to the side of Dauntless, they do need a little bit of time to, you know, get both the Uranus and Tamus items in. They do have the Valor and Kimi, which is pretty decent early game. The Burst Fireball, you know, you have the threat of concentrated energy and the maximum charge, and you know, so it's not too bad, I think, in the sense. But in terms of team fight, I really do think that Victress can take this one.
To Mobile Legends. 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them. All troops deployed.
And so we're gonna start off by having the try lane for the side of Dauntless. I don't think they want Kimi to be alone. Kimi is gonna be really squishy against a couple of these Victress heroes that we see, and you know, obviously they want to get the Kimi up running if possible. I'm interested to see what they will kind of pick. Double retribution though on both the Tamus as well as the Uranus. So they obviously are prepared for a team fight, and they're just trying to make trying to punish Victress every single time they go in for these two fighters. So I can kind of see where they're going with that. But that being said, like I said, it comes back to the issue. If the Valor is not able to stop, like if Yana doesn't stop the Esmeralda from jumping in, or they don't burst the Esmeralda up, the fight could turn really bad. You know, the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Esmeralda. She's gonna get a lot of that shield coming in from this cascade, as well as the falling star. So we're gonna see a little bit of a pause come out, and I'm just gonna go through these emblems as well as the skills that Bren Esports and Victress have went for, because all 5 of them have went for Flicker. So obviously they're going for the catch. They do recognize the threat of the Kimi as well as the Valor, and on top of it, you know, you're going up against a Hylos who, once he drops that, you know, glorious pathway, there's gonna be an insane amount of movement speed from all these, you know, heroes coming in from the side of Dauntless. They can really go ham, you know, be aggressive, try to play on the front foot and abuse the fact that they can take team fights, because you look at that lineup, you know, they do have quite a bit of damage packed in there. A lot of sustainability as well. They can last really long in fights, but like I said, they can only take a fight straight up if they can take the Esmeralda. The longer the fight goes, and or maybe I should put it this way, the longer the Esmeralda survives in a team fight, the worse it is. They get the Abyssal Arrow onto Power, but you know, it's onto the Hylos. Nothing they can really do that, so they're just gonna back off from that. Meanwhile, top side, Uranus doing pretty decent. In fact, most of the offlaners should be doing pretty decent. Oh, I might have spoken a little bit too soon. Bruno with the volley shot. Way of the Dragon doesn't even really need to be used. Jumps in immediately, gets the kill. Oh, might have picked up Way of the Dragon. Not too sure about that. We do see it on cooldown. She's on level 4. So first blood going in the way of Bren Esports Victress, and not exactly the start that Dauntless wants. They do need these Uranus to be able to hold the top lane, and with that tier 1 down, it's gonna be a lot harder. Meanwhile, Keanu Rips trying to do the same in the bottom side, doing a good job at pulling Tamus away. Kind of Inferno kind of activated there, but good joke coming from Keanu Rips. In fact, we do see that Trees has rotated down to the bot side. Don't think she can do much against this 4-man lineup. Although I would like to see a Abyssal Arrow come up. They want to land, they get it as well. Here's the Tyrant's Rage on standby. The Searing Torrent's gonna keep both the Kimi and Valor alive. Good reaction coming up from Yenap. Although that would have been really good coming out. That would have been a good catch for Bren Esports Victress if they did manage to take the Valor out there. I think they could have taken the Kimi as well. So that could have been a huge double win for Bren Esports Victress. But for now, 3 minutes in, we do see a limited goal lead. 800, not the most, but it does show that Bren Esports Victress are on the front. And guys are just doing a good job at harassing this Uranus, not really allowing him to push out of his lane. Definitely wants to keep a little bit of a distance between him and, or rather keep the distance between the creeps and towers. Because if you do leave the Uranus unchecked, that might be a little bit of an issue. Abyssal Arrow not gonna land on anyone there. And Turtle's already down to half HP. Look at how quickly they're taking it, especially if they have the Bruno. No steal over there from the Hylos, and they do take the middle tower as well with the help of the Chow. Or the Cho. Not sure why I pronounced that. Some people do pronounce it as Chow. I think Cho sounds a lot better. Oops. Bruno just can help them push down the lanes a little bit. I think this is where Bren Esports Victress will look to be a little bit scary. Another gank on the bot lane. And this time around, looks like the Tamus and the Uranus have swapped sides, because obviously you do see the Bren Esports Victress are trying to apply a lot of pressure on bottom lane, and they want this Tamus to be able to farm. The Uranus not so much, he's just there to soak up damage and, you know, hopefully be able to peel for the side of Dauntless. But you know, it's really vital that a hero like Tamus does get his items. He desperately needs that lifesteal as well. And Endless Pattern would be a good item pickup right now. And you know, look at this, the Kruva's just soaking up all this damage. Siren Tower is going to push him against the wall. They drop the Revitalize. Asmara jumping in with the falling Star Moon as well. But not being able to follow up there. Hylos can be able to get out of trouble. A bit of pressure in the jungle of Dauntless, and they might be able to steal it. No, they don't. Selena gonna jump in, forced to use the flicker to get out of trouble. Abyssal Arrow once again not being able to land on anyone. The Searing Torrents as well as the stun from the Hylos. Oh, it looks like someone had a DC. So we're gonna see a pause there. So that wasn't exactly a catch, but you know, a little bit unfortunate for Triss to DC at that very moment. It should be fine. Like at the end of the day, Bren Esports Victress, they are still ahead, and they can kind of take their time with this push. And I think that it's important for the side of Bren Esports Victress to just maintain the lead, and you know, Turtle is up, so they can kind of go for that. And we got Dauntless, who, you know, like I said, they need to get the farm on the Tamus, they need to get items on the Kimi. It looks like they want to go for glowing one on her, which I do like. You know, we do see a lot of teams try to go that Blade of Despair, which I still feel it's viable, but you know, it just costs so much. You're pouring so much of your farm into the BOD. You need so much more time to farm that item up, and you know, if you're on the back foot, it's not exactly the item that you need, because you need to shred them apart. When you're behind, the issue that you're having is that you're not being able to tear them apart in the early game. So picking up a BOD is not gonna help even more. It does help the farming, but you know, overall, if you're not be able to, and it's not an anti-snowball item, right? You go BOD, and if you're on the back foot, you're not doing enough damage, then you know you're gonna have the issue to proc the passive. Because at the end of the day, BOD is really effective only when the opponent's like below 50% of HP, right? Because that's where the bulk of the damage will come up. But you know, if you don't bring them down, then that BOD is not gonna be any useful in team fights. For now, Dauntless, they are 4k down. So we're seeing a little bit of an extended pause here, which I don't think should take too long. And I'm curious to see what the Bruno will build into, because obviously she's building Endless Better first. Like once the Endless Better is done, what do you go for? Do you go for the Berserker's Fury? You know, do you go for... I know some people still go for the Scarlet Phantom, and I think it's still a really good item to have on most of the MMs, because you do have a bulk of that, or rather an increase, a huge increase in the attack speed. So I want to see what Colin is gonna build on this Bruno. Looks like we're gonna see Uranus. Like I said, they're gonna be swapping lanes, so I also want to kind of see how they are able to bounce, whether they are able to bounce back from this. Because so far, whenever Bren Esports find themselves, or the Bren Esports Victress find themselves ahead, it's really rare for them to just throw a game away like that, because they have such a good understanding of how to maintain the lead, and you know, for the most part they have been able to do so. I don't think we have seen a team that's been able to pose a huge problem to them. It looks like we're gonna get the game going. Oh, finally. A little bit of a team fight happening on the top side as well. Sky dropping really low. Gasai still trying to stick onto them. Uses Chikundo, but wants to back off immediately with the Shumpo. And gonna see Bren Esports Victress continue with the farming. You know, Turtle is up. That's pretty much where gonna see a little bit of engagement there. I think Dauntless do want to contest for this Turtle. And I would too if I'm them. Enchanted Talisman being built onto the Uranus. Oh, and look at how quickly 1.2k worth of crit. Ooh, 1.3, and that is some serious damage. If that lands on the Kimi, I'm sure that's gonna be pretty bad. Abyssal Arrow gonna land on Sky, but no follow-up action right now. We're gonna start with the high loss wave of the world animation being used, and Chao's able to jump on the top to get a solo kill on the Tamus, and that's gonna be bad. Falling Stammer being used by the Ass Murder. That's the push. Dauntless a bit further back into the base. I think they're gonna get this free tier 2 on the top side. Not sure how Dauntless is gonna contest this. Gasai already dropping into half health. And Muta gonna jump into Tyrant's Rage, but no follow-up. Triss landing the Abyssal Arrow, and all these are just pokes. I don't think they can kind of force a fight here. Not with a 5-man strong Dauntless, unless they can catch someone out. It looks like Hylos might be the target. They're slowly breaking him down. Tyrant's Revenge coming up again. Even utilize the Revitalize. A little bit of a waste if you ask me, but you know, gotta do what you do to stay alive. And here we go, the kick comes in. They didn't even use the Way of the Dragon, but now onto the backline. Kufa jumping in. Where is the Tyrant's Rage? It isn't there for them. And I fear that Bren Esports Victress might have jumped the gun a little bit too quickly. They got a little bit excited with the solo kill onto the Iska. And you know, while it's not the one they want to go for, they obviously want to take down Sky or Yenna. I think Yenna is a more important role in the Valor compared to the Kimi at this point in time, because they need this Valor who is going to be able to stop them. You know, the Searing Torrent is going to push the creeps out. It's really hard to break into a base where there's a Valor that's constantly pushing. Your only means of going inside away, and you know, I think you know should be able to hold the fort for them for quite a while until the Lord gets taken. And that's where, you know, with the super minions, even if you got Searing Torrent, they are going to go in. And you know, if you watch your stream, I kind of spoke a little bit on that as well. The only way, oh, they managed to jump on the Yenna. That's the targeted one. Wave of the Word animation, not enough damage, but Gasai now jumping in the backline with the flicker, follow into Way of the Dragon as well, just to burst the Valor up. They follow up with the Q onto Gasai, but that is a small sacrifice. I told you about the Valor, and they got what they came for. They even picked up another Q onto the Uranus, and looks like they might just start taking this Lord with the help of mutants soaking up those damage. Colin should be able to get this one comfortably. Don't really see a way that Dauntless will be able to contest for the Lord. And he's already building into the Scarlet Phantom as well. But you know, Berserker Fury done, you're gonna see the increase in crit damage. A little bit scary. NOD or the just to reduce the regen of both the Uranus and Thomas is really important, and it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. In this case, the stone being the Necklace of Durance, gonna reduce the regen effects of their skills, as well as the gonna help with the a little bit of the damage output in some sense for the Selena. Should be able to get this one pretty easily, and they should get the tier 3 down the bot lane as well. Revitalize being dropped. It's only gonna keep them alive for so long. Power dropping down to a quarter of HP. Glorious Pathway being used as well. Ice Cream 1 coming up for Kimi, but is it too late? We already see the Tamus going down. They're desperately trying to clear with the creeps, but super minions now available for the side of Bren Esports Victress on all 3 lanes. Look at that, they're just tearing this Hylos apart. Dropping to half HP. Looks like Bren Esports Victress, they know they can't force their way into this one. They're staying patient. 12 minutes in, and you know, it's good progress from Bren Esports Victress. Whereas on the side of Dauntless, they have yet to take a single tower. Things are looking a little bit grim for Dauntless, if you put it that way, but you know, if they can delay this push coming up, if they can delay the game as long as they can, then they might have a little bit of hope. But it really comes down to whether or not Bren Esports Victress do make a mistake, because if they don't, I find it so hard for the side of Dauntless to win a team fight now. And I spoke about that early game advantage that they had with the Kimi and the Valor. Well, that's gone down by quite a bit. Yes, they have picked up the glowing one as well as the ice cream one, but it's, you know, look on the opposite side. You got the Asmurner that's pretty much got a full build. She's only, you know, left the mask, which, you know, she can choose to sell it if she wants. She can build into she can kind of complete a mask if she wants as well. I think it's fine. She doesn't really need it. She'll probably sell it and then build into immortality, and you know, I don't even think she needs the immortality to end the game at this point. It feels like Bren Esports Victress are just setting a trap outside the base. It's kind of like just daring Dauntless, and they're like, no, come on out, like come and get your jungle farm. And obviously it's a little bit of a trap. Magic ball just to slow power down a little bit. Don't think they will be able to achieve anything much. Although with Kiana Rips now joining alongside the rest of the team, I think she's got the blue buff on her. Yeah, she does. So I think she went ahead to pick up a blue buff while Colleen picked up the opponent's red and blue. And even Gaza is picking up the Blade of Heptasy, so pretty much Bren Esports Victress are in the pretty much a full build per se, like 1 or 2 items on the supports or the tanks to be specific, and I don't think they're gonna be facing too much of a resistance from Dauntless. And you know, obviously second Lord's gonna be the one that they want. And at this point, you know, for Dauntless, it's so hard to even break out the base. You can see they're just clearing the creeps at this point and, you know, clawing at whatever farm they can get. Plus X completed for the Tamus, but like I said, you know, similar to the situation that they have in the Kimi, yes, you do have a couple of items now under your belt, but you need so much more. You do need quite a bit. It's done the Queen's Wing, so pretty decent of an item pickup, but needs one more item to kind of match blow for blow against, you know, the Chow, who is the next best comparison on the side of Bren Esports Victress. Looks like Bren Esports Victress, they want to end the game right now. Colleen already poking the Hylos down to half HP. Best time to go back now. Tyrant's Revenge into the Tyrant's Rage. Catches 3 member there. Asmara jumping in with the Falling Star Moon. The Dancing Cascade is going to be able to pick a kill, make it a double. And the Uranus goes down. I think this is pretty much it. You know, lots to half HP. And pretty easy win for Bren Esports Victress. And you gotta say it's a really one-sided affair, especially from the beginning of the game where, you know, they picked up the first blood on the Uranus on the top side, and then, you know, they kind of snowballed from there. I don't think we have seen a point in time that there was so much as to be threatened, and it really came down to good planning in the opening stage of the game. You know, didn't really run the tri-lane as I thought they would. Yeah, I mean, Asmurder's a pretty decent offlaner alongside with, or not alongside, but I know pretty much the same row as the Chow. You can see item wise, it's pretty straightforward. You know, Chow even did manage to pick up a Blade of Despair, so that is quite a bit of damage in the fighter. And you know, I think a little bit of an unorthodox build coming up from the nah, it's not really an unorthodox build. I think it's pretty much straightforward. I don't think we do see a bit any of the difference. A couple of them are yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. I don't think we do see anything different. And so yeah, that pretty much is game 1. So hopefully we will see a better game 2, and I think, you know, if Dauntless can win game 2, we go for game 3. I'm really excited for that. I'm rooting for them to try to mount a comeback. But first, I think we'll go for a short little break when we are back game 2 between Bren Esports Victress and Dauntless. So don't go anywhere. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FSL MLBB Philippines edition of the tournament. My name is Aries, and we are back with the second game between Bren Esports Victress and Dauntless. And looks like the team's already in the draft, so let's jump straight to it. There we go. And looks like they have swapped places, so we're gonna see Dauntless and the blue side. They're gonna be banning out the Qualifier and the Bruno. Pretty smart choice. They pretty much got destroyed by the Qualifier as well as the Bruno. And you know, obviously Bruno's a really good MM to scale at this point. You know, really cheap hero. Don't really need too much items to be useful. You know, you pick up a Biscuit Fairy and it's got a ton of crit damage. And Bren Esports Victress, they choose to ban the Kimi away. I'm pretty surprised by that. They're gonna lick the Claude over. I don't really like the way they're drafting, but you know, they do manage to get the Tamus as well as the Chow for themselves. So I think it's not too bad, you know, the Cho and the Tamus as the offlaners. But I would have preferred if they ban out the Claude compared to the Kimi. Maybe it's kind of a target ban, but you know, we saw in the first game they had a lot of means to do with it. I really would have preferred to give the Kimi away. I think giving away the Kimi, and then you know, you pick like the child. Maybe don't give the Tamus away. Pick the Kaja for themselves. They're gonna give away the Kaja, and I don't know. This Dragon Dauntless just looks really strong now. The first half of the draft that they have, they're definitely looking to, you know, pack a lot of firepower in, and they even managed to pick up the Kaja as well as the Claude. So that's just two really good heroes in my opinion. But Bren Esports Victress, they reply with a strong pick and a carry, and not too bad. They kind of gambled that, you know, Dauntless were not going for the double MM pick, and even if they went for the double MM pick, I felt like that would have worked for Dauntless. You know, not picking the Uranus. So you pick the Claude, you pick the carry, you pick the Kaja, and then you know, you try to pick a high loss, either a high loss or like a Baxia, someone that can kind of stand in the front line, so that you know, you have that opening for both your MMs to work with, and I think that would have been pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it's fine either ways. And you know, Bren Esports Victress, they're gonna ban the Jordan. I think on Dauntless side they do need to ban either another fighter or tank. I think Hylos is a pretty good ban now, unless they want to go it for themselves. But you know, Bren Esports Victress is gonna be able to pick that up. They ban the Valor. Yeah, I mean, the Valor is not too bad of the ban, but you know, Bren Esports Victress can still go for the Selena. And we have seen how they make the Selena work, just to create an opening, Abyssal Arrow to someone, then burst them down with the Chow as well as the Cho. I want to keep saying Chow, the Cho and the carry. And you know, that's just a really bursty combo to go against, especially when you put them in the hands of Bren Esports Victress. Ooh, they go for the Atlas. I like that. You know, Dauntless, they ban the Valor. Bren Esports Victress, they recognize that. I think they gonna save it. Yeah, they should probably are saving the Selena pick as the last one. And if I'm Dauntless, boy, that does pose quite a bit of an issue. They do need another fighter as well as a support, or not a support, but you know, they do need either that or tank. So Baxia would have worked well if the carry wasn't there. I think Baxia's their best choice now. They need another fighter desperately, and well, Camille is not too bad, but if they are going for this draft, they need to run 1-2-2, and we're gonna see how that kind of works out. Selena is kind of a no-brainer here. Diggy's open as well. I think Diggy looks pretty decent, especially when you're going up against you know, Crimson Flowers coming up from Camilla. It does do a little bit of a slow, so you might want to use the Diggy to try to get away. Diggy is more aggressive. I think Selena, in my opinion, you do get a bit of that burst as compared to Diggy. I'm personally leaning towards more Diggy because I'm a Diggy player. I'm more comfortable with it, but I know how big of a threat the Selena can be if put on the right hand. So Selena is fine, and you know, that's pretty much about it. Bren Esports Victress, yeah, looking to just end things in game 2. And obviously they can, if Dauntless are not too careful here. And if you are watching this now, do remember to comment in the section below, or you'll write, depending on whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch or Facebook, which team you're supporting, which players you think it's gonna be the I wouldn't say man of the match, you know, girl of the match. You put it with women of the match. A little bit cringe much, but yep. Just comment section below who you think it's gonna be the women of the match. No extra prizes there, but you know, always nice for teams to know what you're supporting them.
Smash them. All troops deployed.
And obviously we're gonna give the winners 4,000 diamonds. That is what the girls are fighting for. As mentioned in yesterday's stream, there's also 1,000 diamonds for second place, and in third and fourth they both walk. Oh no, second place walks with 2,000, and in third and fourth they walk with 1,000 diamonds each. So that's quite a bit of diamonds. Although looking at the skins, I'm pretty sure they are pretty stacked themselves. But it's always nice to have extra diamonds in your pocket. It looks like for now, Bren, Esports, Victress, they don't look to invade. I think with a Selena, if you can land an Abyssal Arrow, especially in the blue buff, you can pretty much... If you're landing on someone who's like, for example, the Claw or the Kaja, they're not the tankiest of heroes, you can kind of just go for the first blood there, but you know, whatever works for them. Camilla gonna be at the bot lane, and I'm still surprised to see that they still go for this one, because Camilla, I don't think she's gonna be able to hold the bot lane by herself. You know, she's not really tanky early. She does need quite a bit of support early game. I don't think she's a support herself, and Abyssal Arrow coming in, I think that's the first blood, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, she's not exactly tanky, but we do see the Blazing Duet pick up the Tamu's on the other side, so Dauntless definitely not going down without a fight there. And second wave of cuts gonna ensure that Bren, Esports, Victress will be able to pick up this tier 1. And just look at the comparison that Bren, Esports, Victress have in terms of the impact across the map. Look at that, Gazai's already nearly pick up the Chow, Way of the Dragon, one more hit, the Flicker as well as the Shumpo gonna be able to allow Gazai to pick up the kill, and I think he should be able to find here. Chris just gonna soak up that shot coming up from Pao, and they should be able to get on their way. Tries to TP back. Selena's gonna be a bit of a harassment. Tamu's already going down to mid. We'll be swapping lanes pretty soon. But once again, Bren, Esports, Victress find themselves ahead. In the third minute, they did manage to pick up the tier 1 in the bottom lane.
Turtle resurrecting soon.
Do feel to like a certain extent that Bren, Esports, Victress are not gonna take their foot off the gas pedal. They just wanna steamroll this second game. They are already working their way onto the turtle. But now it looks like Powell's gonna be able to scout them out. Not really want to give this one out. Way of the Dragon gonna bring the Buckside even further. One more hit from the carry is gonna be able to pick the Q up. They also pick up the turtle uncontested. Swim boots for the Atlas as well. I like that. Atlas that isn't necessarily the fastest hero around, so with the swim boots, gonna be able to move quite a bit. Obviously, you're gonna require a bit of rotation from this Atlas to try to support the top lanes as well. Fatal links onto 3 members, and they might be able to get a team wipe here, or rather not a team wipe, but 3 kills here. And they should be able to do so. One more hit from the carry will secure the kill, and looks like they want more jump in from Colin. Not sure if that's kind of a misclick, but she did flicker under tier 1 tower, and Yana should probably try to get the heck out of there. Didn't really manage to land the Abyssal Arrow on Tree's part, but hey, at least they still secure that tier 1 in the middle lane. Meanwhile, top, Keanu Reeves and mid, ironically, at the top lane are trashing it out. I don't think it's gonna be quite a bit of a stalemate, and really see Keanu Reeves trying to start to work on the tier 1 on the top side, but it's definitely gonna be hard to do so against the Uranus. And Bren Esports, Victress, they recognize that fact and looks like they want to go for a gank. I don't think anyone has spotted them. They do spin a little bit of rotation, and they're gonna start on the Bucks here as well. Abyssal Arrow gonna land immediately on them. Fatal Links follow up as well. That's gonna be a kill onto the Bucks here. They're gonna follow up, Blazing Direct onto the back line. Not enough damage. They only bring down the Atlas. That is not enough. And Bren Esports Victress will walk away with another tier 1. This time around, it's the top lane. And if they really want to go aggressive here, I think they can even go for a tier 2. It looks like they're contemplating it. They definitely are working on it. Abyssal Arrow onto the Kaja. They might be able to get one more kill here. And they're going to give it over to the carry. Farm conscious on Bren Esports Victress part. And they must be licking at their lips right now. Look at that. A juicy turtle for them. And they are up ahead by 6 here, but it's going to be 7k soon. I think they will be able to take one more team fight before they really go for the tier 3s. And depending on whether or not Dauntless do want to defend against those tier 2s, because at this point I feel like they lack a lot of farm, especially on this Claude. If you compare the Claude and the Carrie's already got that first item in Endless Battle, and she's probably going to build into that golden stuff. While you do see Claude still struggling, and this shouldn't be the case. She's still struggling to build into that golden stuff, or rather that Demon Hunter sword, and so that's gonna take quite a bit. A solo kill onto Yana in the bot lane. I think they did burn the way of the dragon for that one, but they still have plenty of CCs available to them. You look at Bren Esports, Victress, they have plenty of CCs on their part. They have the Selena of the Abyssal Arrow. They have Gasai who has Chikundo as well, so we have the dragon, and then you have Muted with the Fatal Link. So a lot of arsenal, a lot of initiation for them, and they don't really have to worry even if they miss one or two of these huge ultimates on their part, because Abyssal Arrow doesn't really take long. I think it's 6 seconds per arrow, so there shouldn't be a problem. Meanwhile, Tom was happily farming on the top side, also building into the Endless Battle. Just managed to pick up as I was talking about that. Dauntless. They finally get the Demon Hunter sword on Claude, but they need so much more. They need the golden stuff and DPS. And now they have the burst because of the Blazing Duet. Now they need the DPS output coming up from Claude to be able to match the damage from the carry. Ice Dominance coming up from Baxia, hopefully trying to slow down the attack speed of the carry, although I'm kind of doubting the effectiveness at this stage of the game. Maybe towards the later stage it will be a lot useful, but at this point I think Bren Esports Victress has just too much in the locker. They're just too bursty as a comp, and they're just too quick, and you can see that whatever they do, they look like to be one step ahead of Dauntless. And the only way the Dauntless can win this, and there is still a little bit of a slight hope now, is that if they can delay the game long enough, hopefully the Claude is able to farm up, and that's where obviously the damage will come and help them in all these huge team fights. You also have the Uranus that needs quite a bit of items to be a little bit tankier. Same goes for the side on the Camilla's portion, and the bugs here as well. But a lot of items still needed to catch up to what Bren Esports Victress are putting on the board at this point in time. They get another Abyssal Arrow onto the bugs here, no follow up there. But Tamus is slowly but surely chipping away at that tier 3. A quarter of HP already down. You can see like Keanu Reeves. The thing about pick up a Tamus, and he doesn't need mana. He doesn't run a mana. But first Fatal Links onto 2 members there should be more than enough. They pick up another kill with the carry. Slightly taking a little bit of damage from tower, but they did manage to walk away with 3 kills, and more importantly, one of those 3 kills is the Claude. So this is gonna be quite an issue. We have the dragon. Good flicker there coming from Gasai with the combo. To pick up a kill onto the Kaja, and now it's gonna be only the Uranus left. They're already ignoring the tier 3 in the middle, and they end the game in less than under 12 minutes. I think it's 11 plus if I'm not wrong, but hey, it kind of shows how strong Bren Esports Victress are as a team. And yeah, it's under 10 minutes, and that's how strong they are as a team, especially in the rotation wise. I think what's scary about Bren Esports Victress is that they know the pick and how to get the most out of their heroes, especially in the opening stage of the game. You can see, Carrie, despite only having 10 minutes to in this game, she's got, the golden stuff. She's got an endless battle. She's got lightning belt. She completed a tier 3 jungle item, and she was about to go into what I believe could have been. I think Vitality would have made a lot of sense here, but she didn't even need it. And like I said, that was just a really fast-paced game. I think Dauntless was just a little bit too greedy with the Camilla pick. I felt like a tankier fighter would have done the trick, and that kind of proved my point the first blood, where they could just dive the tower really easily. And Camilla on her portion, she's not really a fighter through and through. She does have a bit of a sustainability, a little bit of a lifesteal, but I don't think she's tanky enough to soak up all this damage coming up from Bren Esports with Victress, or even like a tri-lane aggression when it comes down to this meta where you do see teams trying to force that tier 1s either on the bot or top. So that being said, congratulations to Bren Esports Victress. They will proceed into the next bracket, and that's gonna be I believe I should be able to show this one, so it's not updated, but at this point they will be able to go up against Archangel, so that is the progression for them. Unfortunately for Dauntless, they will be out, and then we will also have our next game, which is Finesse Empress up against Tigress. Oh no, it's actually Next Play Predator Tempest against Sealock Angel. So those two, that's the next game that's going to come up. And then for the final stream of the day, or the final matchup for the day, we will be seeing Bren Esports Victress up against Archangel. And this matchup is going to be a bit exciting, because I want to see how obviously the teams do react to that. And Archangels is also another team that has multiple teams across multiple game titles. So I want to see how that matchup is going to go down. A lot of pride on the line at this tournament, and for now it seems like no one is able to stop both the sides of Bren Esports Victress, or the Bren Esports Bren Esports Victress, as well as the leads over on the side of Archangel. So one of them is finally going to get taken out, but that is game number 3, or that is the match number 3 that we have for you guys. For now, we'll go for a short little break, but when we are back, we will be streaming the next game, which is Next Play Predator Tempest up against Sealock Angel. So I'm excited for that, and I'll see you after this break.